Don't shader, right?
Huh?
Yours a don't shader or?
That's me.
Yeah. No, I
That's
meant
you.
like your
We're
YouTube
live.
channel. Great.
Yeah, don't mute that, okay? Because we don't want anything out of that.
It's mute, but I think I'm going to just turn it on.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacey, because there's going to be a lot of people asking things. So
Yeah, sure hope so. We have a lot to talk about because we're actually live right now. Okay. So, and look at what I have. Remember the last time we talked?
yeah,
Do you realize that we covered all of this?
we did all of this. Wonderful.
This is what we talked about in the last
Yes.
when we did the interview here, you know. I didn't realize that we covered this many topics.
Yeah, that was.
You know, so you know, I just wanted you to see that. Actually, we can now keep this for scrap paper.
Okay.
So I got to say, now there were 5 people waiting just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your thing. Okay. There. Good morning. Good afternoon, GM Ace. There's Ace. So I assume everything's okay. You can hear us and you can see us okay? Because you're the person that I need to tell me that. This is Ace. So you'll see the conversation pop up in here.
Yes.
All right. And yes, sir. Looking and sounding good. All right. So we're live. So
wonderful. Good afternoon, all.
Huh?
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon. So this is Dr. Gladys Garcia. You got your stethoscope.
Yeah.
What is this thing here? What's that? Is that just
this?
That's a piece of jewelry.
That's jewelry. Yeah. But mainly this is like my, my scrub and my white coat.
Did you just get out of surgery?
No.
This
is protocol,
You're almost late. You called and you said where were you, on the other side of town?
Yeah, I was watching a patient there.
I knew you were going to have a patient. And
yeah,
I thought,
it's like, I trying to do is schedule, but sometimes there's somebody like a patient at the last minute, and I always go.
Yeah.
If I have some time too.
Yeah. There. Hi, Chrissy. Chrissy's saying hi to us. So anyway, so let's talk about a few things, okay? Because number one, are you comfortable? Do you want something to drink? Do you want a glass of wine?
Water.
Water?
Yes.
You want some water? All right. Are you cool enough? You okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
that's
right.
perfect.
Let me get you some water.
Thanks.
I will be right back. You can. Oh, I'll tell you what you can do while you're waiting for me. I would like for you, if you don't mind,
of
course, to answer a question, okay? And you can discuss it while I'm getting your water. All right. There was a good question here. That I have. It's kind of a general question. Well, talk about the availability of prescription drugs here. Okay, that's a big topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
there's the camera.
Okay, that's good to know. About the prescriptions, we have different options of prescriptions. So it means that we have like normal prescriptions when you got, for example, medication that it's easy to buy on the drugstore, or you also have, for example, special prescriptions that they came as a single medication in a special paper that generally is allowed not to all doctors, only to certain of them that they have a special training.
Mm-hmm. Now you can look at me.
Yeah, great. So let's put you an example so you will understand me better. It means that if you go to my office and you have an infection, right? And I prescribe you the treatment for that infection, but it's not a special prescription. A special means that it's either a psychotropic or an stupefacient. It means like those drugs that they are to induce the resting time, to sleep, or used for depression, anxiety, like for example, to treat like severe pain.
Yeah.
That they are so delicate that they need to be under the supervision of a doctor, and that's why you have to have a special training for it. In a regular prescription, you can write there like more than one medication.
Mhm.
And the special prescription, you can only write one.
Okay,
per
so
recipe.
explain to me, if you don't mind. I know that, I mean, I can walk into the pharmacy in the mall and get my drug, this is Metropolol, or the generic for Metropolol. I don't even need a prescription. I just go in there and show them the box from the last time and say I need 3 months worth of these. So that means I don't have to have a prescription. But what about narcotics? You can't just walk in and buy narcotics, right? Because some people are in the impression that you can.
Exactly.
So set me straight on that, please.
That's a rule that it helps to people to get medications, but it is also very dangerous, because what about if you just copying and pasting the treatment of somebody else and you haven't seen a doctor and you're self-medicating yourself?
Mhm.
That's something that I disagree completely with this system. But it happens, it helps. Let's say that, for example, you have fever, so you go to the counter and they give you Tylenol, paracetamol is the one that we have,
Mhm.
and you don't need a prescription for it.
Right.
And yes, for certain medications, you don't need prescription. But if it's psychotropic, narcotic, you definitely need a prescription.
Yeah.
They can't sell you that. And that is under vigilance. It means that there is a specific rule, how many pills you can prescribe according to frequency, according to diagnosis, according to time. So you cannot prescribe more than 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
that explains. Is that for all medications or just for?
As I said, special prescriptions like
Okay.
psychotropics, narcotics, pain medications, but not all pain medications.
Yeah.
The ones, as I said, for example, oxycodone, morphine. Another example would be Ativan, alprazolam, clonazepam, midazolam, medications to induce the coma, because those medications have so much side effects, and it's prohibited that any pharmaceutical people or any person behind the counter just give you that without no prescription. That is controlled by the law. We have a special ruleman in the MASP, which is our Public Ministry of Health, that regulates all of that. And that's why places need to have a license, doctors need to have license, and not any doctor, any random doctor, they are not allowed to prescribe that. You have to have, whether if it's a special license or certain specialists like emergencyologists, for example, psychiatrists, and some general physicians as me, that we were trained to use those medications with the care that it must require to.
Amazing. Because see, there are people that come here with the misconception that they can just walk into a pharmacy and get just about any kind of drug they want. So another thing I want to talk to you about, okay? I'm going to switch gears a lot during this conversation because I got thousands of things on my mind.
That's okay.
Right? So I saw a program last night on CNN. It was an Anderson Cooper special, and it was about cannabis.
Yes.
And it's about cannabis in older people like myself, people that are in even, I mean, they were featuring people in their 90s that they were prescribing cannabis to. So clear the air on the story about cannabis here. Is it legal here? Do you recommend it? What are your thoughts about prescribing cannabis to older people that have problems like they can't sleep, or they, I don't know. Why do we take cannabis? But you know what I'm saying?
Yes. It's important to know that there is 2 types of cannabis medications. Well, in this case will be like a cosmetic, because they are circulating here in Ecuador as a cosmetic. It's different when you have a drugstore or you have a pharmacy, and that medication or that principal active comes from a prescription. Yeah, and it's different if you are allowed to have your own farm grow your own seeds and make your own pot.
Mhm.
How people know this, like, talking very commonly,
Mhm.
which is a cannabis, right? So you have CBD and you have THC. The THC remains the psychoactive in a lower dosage, precisely, and it will be according what type of effect you want to have from your patient.
Mhm.
And it's only a minimal percent, like less or 1%. It can't be more than that. There must be people that are doing it illegally,
Yeah, sure.
but that's not rule
But
by
I
our
mean,
health system. And
yeah.
yes, we have some. We have, for example, CBD oils. We have, they're even commercializing like beer, some food. I have to say this, the holistic approach I have, yes, I recommend sometimes that, but not to everybody.
Yeah.
And not all the times of cannabis.
They even
Because I just don't want to be misinterpreted like I want to drug people.
yeah.
No. This is, for example, patients with chronic pain, cancer,
Mhm.
people in chemotherapy, people with Alzheimer's, people with um, any multiple sclerosis, like essential tremor. So those are, all, for example, insomnia, chronic insomnia that is not responding to the conventional treatment.
Okay.
So rather to have a patient dependent of a drug, a massive drug, I will prefer to use melatonin, which is natural, compared with the other ones, or CBD.
Yeah.
But it can't be in any patient, because you have to dig in the patient. Is this patient have any problem with drugs before? Any dependency? What is the
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
of the patient? Does this patient have any side of depression?
Mhm.
Because those medications and the CBD and THC, it has side effects. Or once you get rid of the effect of the med, there comes the dependency or the
Sure.
abstinency, the abstinence symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to investigate a patient, treat the patient, and see if they can be
Yeah.
a good candidate for it.
Yeah. I want to just remind everybody, because I see a lot of people leaving comments. We have 28 people on right now and leaving comments and probably asking questions. I want to remind everybody, please hold off your questions until we're ready to start taking questions, because the questions that I'm asking Dr. Garcia right now are questions that people have already asked me and sent to me. And we'd like to just get these out of the way. And I will ask you, like the last time, try to keep your answers as short and quick to the point as you can.
Okay. I just need to be clear, because it's like this is not like you're gonna come to my office and just ask for CBD and I'm just
You're
gonna
not just
prescribe
gonna
it.
hand it out.
No. That's not the way it should be.
Yeah. It's and they even stated on CNN last night. They even said it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. What may one person high may put the next person to sleep. What may help one person with Parkinson's disease may not work with another. So anyway,
Yeah.
we won't get too far carried away on that. But now another thing too, I know you've mentioned in some of the times that we've talked that you like the holistic approach to
Yes.
medicine. What exactly is that?
Holistic is like to see the patient as its whole self.
Mhm.
So in the holistic, I want to be very clear with this. It works in patients that you can apply preventive medicine. Patients, they have an established disease and they need a pharmaceutical option. They need that in period.
Sure.
But what I would like is to keep them away of it all the time possible until there's no any other chance
Right.
to have them under a drug.
Yeah.
For example, if you have the predisposition to be a diabetic and you're overweight, if I focus myself to have you in a certain metabolism rate, and if you don't have diabetes type 1, or I think that I can work with you in the holistic way.
Mm-hmm.
It means like
solve the diet.
treating you at the whole self.
Yeah.
And guiding your diet, guiding your exercises, then I can help you with a holistic approach too.
Yeah.
And there are some people when you can do both. So that depends on the patient. But yes, I that is one of my approaches. And I am a pro, and I'm always going to be agree with that to
Yeah.
keep the patient less toxic possible.
Do you ever get patients to just say, Dr. Garcia, just give me the drugs I need?
Yes, because they go with an idea, like
Yeah,
they are
got it stuck in
expecting
their
that
head,
they are
yes.
expecting something,
Mhm.
because they've heard that a friend of them or somebody they know, they had this and it worked for them, and they think that it will work for them
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
So, but that's not the medicine works.
Yeah.
The medicine is personalized.
Yeah.
You can't have what the other guy have. No. So
So,
I personalize my attention with each patient that I see in my office,
Sure.
or as a home visit doctor, what
Mhm.
I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's a home visit. That's something that we don't hear in the United States often at all. I don't know. Firstly, I don't know any doctors in the United States that do home visits. And I don't know any doctors in the United States that will go to anybody's house and do a live stream on YouTube. You know, you're not going to charge me for this, are you?
No. This is informative.
I forgot to ask you about
No.
that. Before we come, this is going to be a home visit.
No.
Oh, good. So, but I do have to say, I mean, we're not going to talk price on here, but I do have to say that your home visits are very reasonable, you know, because people in the United States pay thousands of dollars for treatment, even besides their insurance,
Mhm.
you know. So let's look. I got 19 questions here. Okay.
I am plenty time to
Plus
answer.
a couple more, actually, you know. So I'm going to start with a couple of the real simple ones here. Okay. Chris wanted to know, said, I'm told in the future I will need cataract surgery. Is it available here?
Yes, we have
Of course it's
Garcia.
available, yeah.
We have several options locally here in Manta, in Puerto Viejo,
Mhm.
and as well in Quito, Cuenca, the main cities. And it's easy to get.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can go to the ophthalmologist. They will check you and they will indicate surgery. Yes.
You can probably get just about any kind of eye surgery here, I think.
Not
maybe.
all. It's not. They need to have the staff, the human resource.
Yeah.
It means that the ophthalmologist and the ophthalmologist will perform the surgery through the
Mhm.
clinic,
So
or they own their own clinic. Mostly that is common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much of this is done in Puerto Viejo.
Yes.
Why? Why is it done there and not in Manta?
Because Puerto Viejo is the capital of Manabi, the province. And for some reason, it is the place that everybody choose to,
Mhm.
to put their offices in there. And because we have this specialty public hospital there.
Yeah.
So you have like more variety or something. Yeah.
I had my foot surgery there. So, and it's just for sake of information, it's only a 60-mile round trip drive for me from here where I live to Puerto Viejo and back, because I know I've done it many times in the last 2 or 3 months. So another question, I have back pain and I want to find out exactly what is causing it so I can do the right physical therapy for it. I do not want surgery. Is there a doctor here that would be best for this? Thanks for any help you can give. So somebody has chronic back pain.
Uh-huh.
They don't want surgery.
They want
Here's
physical
that
therapy.
holistic approach, right?
Well, it's not like 100% holistic, but it's not that aggressive.
Mhm.
But yeah, physical therapy, I always recommend, like, you have to be diagnosed first.
Yeah, sure.
Because chronic pain could correspond to so many etiologies, inceptions, causes, however you guys want to talk to about it.
Mhm.
And that depends of the diagnosis. The physical therapy will be personalized again,
Mhm.
and the options of surgeries could be there or not. I personally don't like to suggest surgery to all the patients, mostly when it's the back. And it's like it depends. I have no disagreement with traumatologists or orthopedic surgeons. I understand that's their field that they manage. I am not an orthopedic surgeon, but as I see the body as the whole, it's like it depends how important, how urgent is the surgery. And sometimes you need the physical therapy first to get to the surgery and after the surgery. But yeah, we have tons of options of physical therapy here.
Yeah. Okay. Another person says, this is from Kathy. Hi, Don. Thanks again for another interview with Dr. Garcia and for the opportunity to ask her questions. I'm sorry this question is so late. Sorry to understand if it's too late to get an answer tonight. By the time most of us reach retirement age, most of us have some health issues. Really? I'd like to know what type of medical records I should bring me. That's a good question. A lot of people have asked me, what should I bring as far as medical records? I've never even thought about bringing medical records with me when I came here, but there are some people that are chronically ill that have problems that I didn't have. I came with high blood pressure, and that was it, and a little fat, obesity. But I didn't even think that I would need to bring my medical records. What do you say?
Well, the
Bring your medical records or not?
Medical records are very important, but it will depend how particular is your medical history. Because if you have high blood pressure and you can tell, okay, I'm being treated with this medication, yes and yes and yes, and it worked for me, and at least you can show me your last blood work, or I can do a blood work and see, okay, the kidneys are not touched.
Yeah.
There's not a heart constitutional problem. Okay. So then I really don't exactly need it. But for example, if it's a patient who has more than one disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, gut disease, or any immune disorder, or they're being followed for the GP or for a physician, and they've been changing the meds because it's a hard way, it's being hard to control the ills. So yes. Right. But if you talk to me as a clinic doctor, I think it's very important that you provide your doctor the information, the medical information that it's required.
Sure. She said, I am almost 11 years out from breast cancer, and that treatment lasted a few years. Other than that, just well-controlled diabetes and high blood pressure. When I moved to Florida 7 years ago from Nashville, it was a simple process to have my new doctors request whatever they wanted. I just had to sign a form and get the records sent. I know it won't be that easy from Ecuador. Any advice Dr. Garcia can offer is appreciated, as is anything you can add. So I would say it depends on the condition, right? I mean, if they have all these, I tell people all the time, you know what? Get in touch with Dr. Garcia before you even come here.
Yes,
I give your WhatsApp
that is a
number,
good option because if you still have your insurance in the US or in Canada or where you come, if you just send and forward that information even before to come here, it's easy for me. Next time I will see you, will save us this time, and I will know what allergies you have, what prohibitions you have, how many medications you were taking. So it's a way to manage your history in a responsible way.
Yes. Yeah. So ask in advance, and then you can tell them, yeah, bring
exactly.
Stuff. Yeah. Okay. Another question. At least one source ranks Ecuadorian healthcare higher than even some of the United States. The doctors in Ecuador are reputed to be top notch. Did you know that?
Not very much. Can you explain me a little bit more?
That means that they're the best. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But inasmuch as nursing is a key part of any healthcare system as well, how do you rate the quality of nursing here in Ecuador?
Well,
I never hear much about nursing. I don't know. I was just up at the hospital with Mark and at Soka, and I think I saw one nurse the whole time I was there.
Unfortunately, we are lack of staff.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of politician agreements. I don't want to say anything bizarre, but it's like that's the way that certain countries.
The doctors do a lot of the work here.
Exactly. So yeah, but we have nurses But sometimes you have a nurse in each section for much more patients that they should have.
Now,
So,
like,
and it's because there's not enough professional, or as I say, there is political compromises
mhm,
that doesn't depend for us. Most in the in the public system, like there is somebody who hire those people, and they just decide like 10 patients deserves only one nurse.
yeah,
That's nothing that we as professionals have any control. It's different if you own a clinic.
mhm,
You can make your own checklist and say, okay, I might need more than one, two, three per patient. So it shouldn't be that way, because we should build and actually fill all the requisitions internationally, not
mhm.
only here. But we are a forward country, so.
But the thing is, also in the United States, we are so spoiled. Every doctor in the United States has a front desk girl. They have a person that handles nothing but insurance claims. They have a physician's assistant.
No, we
Used to
don't.
be nurses, now they're called physician's assistants. Some of these girls and guys make $300,000 and up a year.
Oh my God.
Yes, physician's assistants. These are nurses that have the ability to write prescriptions, and they literally do everything the doctor does. And the doctor, like, I can't remember the last time I actually saw my doctor when I was there. Before I came here, I saw the physician's assistant. You know, so
No, we usually have a doctor, a nurse, and probably a nurse assistant,
mhm,
but it's mostly doctor and nurse. The nurse would take care only of the nursing duties,
yeah,
like IVs,
yeah,
intravenously, and the doctor will do the whole approach of. So it's like, for example, I've heard that sometimes in the US, I don't know, I just heard that.
mhm,
So that you see first a nurse practitioner, then you see the doctor. That won't happen ever
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. Because that kind of feeds into the next question, and we can answer that real quickly because it says in the United States what it calls an RN, registered nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and also APRNs, advanced practice registered nurses with a master's degree. Does Ecuador have the equivalent of these? And I'm going to say no.
No.
No way.
We have
We have
doctors,
doctors.
nurses, and nurse assistants.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay. Next question. Many doctors in Ecuador speak English, but what advice do you have for expats who need to communicate also with administrative and nursing staff at clinics and hospitals? Of course, my first question is, what administrative and nursing staff are we talking about here? Because I don't recall seeing
So
doctors do
sadly,
everything.
and I have to say sadly, because how we like to say that what you just read it's true, but in this country, it doesn't happen that way. Firstly, English is not our second language because really few people can speak some acceptable English. And if they do, generally they're in Cuenca or Quito. You might find some people talking English, but it's not like often thing.
Mhm.
It's going to be really hard to find a doctor who can speak English.
Yeah.
So they use translators, or they use a Google translator.
Yes.
But I've seen, and this is not against translators at all, I respect, but medically, it's very, very sensitive if that person doesn't understand the terminology, because a lot of things are dismissing inside the office.
Yeah.
So that is a problem that you guys will find here. And please, when you decide to move to this country, you have to be open that you might have whether to learn Spanish or whether to use a translator or whether to just be patient, because our doctors, I can say 80%, probably much, much more, they don't speak English.
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, and I can see, and we can't say enough about the problem with the translation, because when a translator is translating for you on the street, and we're talking about like going to Claro and ordering a phone, it's not anything like trying to translate medical technology.
No, it's
medical
totally
terminology.
different.
It's completely different. That's almost scary to me to think about. I went to a doctor when I first came here, a skin doctor, and he used a lady on the telephone to communicate with me. And tell you what, everything went wrong with that appointment. But I'm not going to mention any names. All right. So if a patient happens, here's a good one. Can appointments be made directly with a specialist?
You
Well,
can, but
as long as you got WhatsApp.
But firstly, how can I say?
So let's say like an orthopedic surgeon, like Dr. One.
Not everyone manage their practices. I don't know how this doctor you mentioned manage his practice. I just can tell how I manage mine.
Yeah.
And I just decide because I cover different types of things and I need to speak with the patients.
Yeah, sure.
And to just do it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But usually they have assistants or secretaries that they manage the agenda, and they can put you in contact with the doctor if it's really necessary, because the demand is really, really high. So yeah, you it's like the doctor is accessible compares with the United States, but it's not that way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that depends.
Yeah.
Depends.
I mean, like when I racked my toe up, I don't remember if I talked to you. That was when I first came here, and I think you're the one that told me about Dr. Fernandez. I think, but to me, it's just normal practice now that when something's happened to me, that I'm automatically just, since you're my doctor, I'm going to call you first anyway, and let you tell me what specialist to call. But people also need to understand, which is what I really like about Ecuador, is that here you can talk to a specialist individually, directly on WhatsApp or through the telephone, without having to go through a network of.
No, there's no network. We don't have that system yet. Like everything is electronic. No, we don't.
We haven't talked about insurance yet, so I don't know if I even want it.
Yeah, so that's why I talked about accessibility.
Yeah,
you can access to a communication with the doctor, maybe not through a system directly to the doctor, but not all the time are they exactly. Sometimes it's the assistant, sometimes it's the secretary. That depends. Everybody just manage their practice however it's convenient and it works for them.
Yeah. Here's a good one. If a patient happens to refer or prefer one doctor over another, do they have the option to make an appointment with the doctor of their preference? So in other words, they have that choice.
If you use private system, yes. But if you use public, is the agenda of the system.
Yeah.
So then you can't choose, like, I want to go with this one or this one. No.
So if you have private health insurance, like I do.
Yeah, you have two options. Yeah. You have the option to use doctors inside the network, and then you might have a chance to decide, I don't want this, I prefer this other one. Or if it's outside the network, it's like an open panel, because you can go precisely with the one you want.
Right. What can you tell our audience about the availability of prescription drugs? We've already covered that, okay? Because prescription drugs, for the most part, are readily available here. Yes. I know there are some drugs, What do you tell people when I mean, we could probably just talk all night long about different drugs that are available, and we're not going to know what isn't available until somebody says, well, how about this drug? You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to say, I don't think it's available here, or it is. I know there's a website called Pill in a Trip. You ever heard of it? It's called Pill in a Trip. And you can literally check just about any country in the world and see what medication is available there. I'll put a link to that in the description when this video gets published.
Yes.
Okay. We already talked about this, but I'm going to kind of change this question up a little bit. What is your view of alternative therapies such as homeopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture, etc.? We've already talked about homeopathic. What about chiropractic and acupuncture? What do you think?
I agree. Not in 100% of the cases, but I recommend sometimes that. There's a lot of people, mostly the medical field, like the scientific people. I'm a scientist as well, but I meant like the people who are just stuffed, undermined.
Yeah.
I won't ever forget when I was a kid. My mother, she was a nurse practitioner, and when she was a university professor, and she told me one day that the holistic medicine and the homeopathic and all of those things will be the future of the medicine. And I think it is. I think it's absolutely true, because people are getting to move away from the toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
And there is proof shown already how toxicity could be a pharmaceutical product if it's deliberately used.
Right.
Okay, so if it's undeliberately used. And so that's why I think that if a patient can apply for it, can do it. But for example, I disagree in things that need medical assistance 100% regular, and medically thing. I mean, like, it can't be homeopathic, it can't be chiropractor, but yeah.
Right. So last week when I was sick and you came by here and you did something that doesn't happen in the United States very often. You gave me a shot of penicillin.
Mm-hmm.
I might add that the needle's about that long.
No, not that long.
I don't remember what the other shot was. You actually gave me 2 shots in my hip.
Yeah.
This is something that doesn't happen in the States anymore. I can't remember the last time any doctor in the United States ever gave me a shot of penicillin. They usually ask us if we're allergic to penicillin, almost always when we go to, especially when we're a new patient.
But you weren't a new patient. You were an old patient. I already have your medical history.
Yes. But why do they do that? Why is it? Why don't they give shots of penicillin in the United States than they do here? Or can you even answer that? And I'll understand if you can't. But
if I speak as a professional,
mm-hmm.
we have epidemiology, which is the science who studies the prevalency or the bugs, the bacteria, the viruses that you have according to territory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there's a difference between medications that they're in stock in the US and not here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's a personal decision as a professional. If you think your patient qualified for a penicillin or they definitely don't.
Right.
And it's because penicillin, as I said, you can't say like because the penicillin worked for you, it's going to work for your friend, and you will start to prescribe and help into the self-medication. Yeah, and I also disagree with doctors. They prescribe every single thing to all these patients. Yeah, I think that is the problem. Maybe you think that they don't administrate penicillin, but maybe because the patient doesn't need it. That patient, or the majority of them, there is a lot of resistancy also with antibiotics. And the resistancy in the States could be in certain meds that we still are sensitive to. So that's why there's a lot of reasons, not only about the pharmaceutical product, is just other things implicit in the decision to start an antibiotic or a medication according to different territories.
Mm-hmm. Want to hear my personal take on this?
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, okay, I'm speaking for the United States, not Ecuador. In the United States, there's more money to be made on pills than there is on a shot of pills.
And that is another reason. The pharmaceutical business, they agreed with doctors, and a lot of people will want to kill me for this, but that's the truth. I don't say lies.
Yeah.
They offer you, or they have a special things if they prescribe certain brand instead to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's what is beneficial for my patient is to optimize the expenses. And in order to make money for myself, everybody has to charge something because you're offering a service.
Right.
But for me, the successful goes beyond to being a millionaire. If you want to be a good doctor, you have to have a good reputation. And the good reputation is the experiences that you have with your patients. If they got cured with your treatment, or you just have it as a zombies in order to prescribe the same thing to everybody.
Right.
And I'm so sorry if that what I'm saying hurts certain feelings. That's not my point. but that's the way how I see the medical.
Well, I agree with you. I agree, and I'll say it. So,
And maybe for them, it's not affordable to prescribe penicillin because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than other pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Okay. So I was looking to see if there's anything alarming. We have 42 people watching us, watching you.
And yeah, I totally agree about what your last the last comment, like, sounds like a sponsorship. Yeah, most of a
Yeah.
sponsorship.
Yeah. See what Kathy says? Don is absolutely right about the dollars.
Yeah, so I respect, I respect all the professionals. They have my high respect. Being in med school is really hard enough.
Yeah.
To read all those books and all which you have to deal to become a
Not to
doctor.
mention that you have to pay for all that. And
Yeah, but sometimes this, like, for me personally, is like I want to have a good experience as a doctor.
Yeah.
Or I just decide to be a doctor to being a millionaire, because I think there's other ways and I'm not harming human lives.
Right.
This is really serious.
Yeah. I have told my audience that doctors can provide some services at a patient's home. What are these services? Well, that's a big question. In other words, for what kinds of problems could a patient choose to be treated at their home? Here in Ecuador, it's probably just about anything, right? As far as general health is concerned. I mean, I'm not, doctor, I need heart surgery. Could you come by at 3 today? But general health, is so convenient to be able to call the doctor and say, and by the way, can you stop at the pharmacy on the way over and pick up my drugs? I mean, that's funny. When I had my foot surgery done, Dr. Fernandez, while I was waiting for my legs to wake up, he goes to the pharmacy there in Puerto Viejo and buys all my drugs. And then he comes back and tells me how to take them and everything. You don't see that in the United States.
We're human beings. We're regular human beings.
Yeah, that's
so it must be the way that, oh my God, it's a doctor, what a personality that it is, that how hard it is to go to the pharmacy and buy a med. Like, I'm outside this.
Yeah.
I'm a human person.
Sure.
I have needs. I have things to worry about. I have duties, obligations, rights, the same as you.
Yeah. Says, even though they would be written in Spanish, do you know of any online resources you could recommend which would give our viewers reliable information on the hospitals and clinics in Ecuador and what they offer? Are there any websites that talk about the different hospitals that are around Ecuador? There's ISS hospitals, there's private hospitals, there's the free hospitals that's not even IESS, right? Or is it all IESS?
The area of the technology, it's very, very different here. We are years, very, very, very years behind you guys. So right now with this artificial intelligence, it's going to be much easy for everybody, like to access to the information.
Yeah.
But we still very, 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 like back in the ages.
Yeah.
Like we communicate each other. It's word by word. It's experience by experience. So if you went to the grocery store and you were attended for a wonderful lady that was very nice with you, it's not going to be on social media. Well, now it's starting to, but it's like Dawn telling people like, hey, I used this person and it was nice and they treated me nice. The prices was good. So it's like word by word. We communicate a lot here, and that communication gets to the social media of the influencers. So people goes to those people and they believe in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you say that social media has helped your business over the last few years?
To be honest, I barely use social media. I'm starting to get on it to reach more people. I mean, like, to seek to attract more people.
Right.
But actually, I'm the type of doctor that my reputation was made because of good experiences that the patients had with me.
Yeah.
And basically, I was working as a resident, a doctor in the emergency room, the trauma department in the Rodriguez Zambrano Hospital. And I saw an English patient. he liked so much what I did for him, and it was my work. It wasn't anything extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And he found me somewhere. He saw me outside as a private doctor when I was obligated to put my resignation, and he started talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And look at me now, and I started on the 2020, and now I have my business,
Yeah.
which is not like a massive thing, but I mean, like,
But it
people
helps, yeah.
know me.
Sure.
But I get, if I go to the social media, I might attract more customers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you can also have a good reputation. You don't need like that much social media.
Yeah.
Like
But
that.
since retirement to retirement abroad from the United States, from North America, is getting to be such a popular thing nowadays, and people are depending on social media for information, and we I know several people here that just as a result of this channel right here that we're on right now, that they have seen an increase in their work, their workload, because that's how people are finding out. They're finding out about Dr. Garcia from Mark Bradbury's Facebook page, where there's people are asking questions, I need a doctor, where'd I go? And that's how your name gets out, and Dr. Fernandez and all these other professionals.
Yeah, but for example, the example I was trying to explain is like there's another physicians in other countries in the world that they, for example, they have a website, and that website is attached to Instagram, Facebook, and they have this and this and this, so their names are running every single day when you're scrolling your social media's profile. But in my case, is I still very basic. Like I have Facebook, and it's an open, profile Facebook, and I have WhatsApp, and so it's somebody passed my WhatsApp to some other people, and like that, and like that, and like so on, right? But it's like we're getting in that area, and that might be the reason why, like, a publicist and marketing are not like massive business like is in the US, because the technology is beyond advanced than us, much more. But we're gonna get in that point. We are right in that point.
You have to,
And yes,
especially
definitely.
with AI coming around the corner.
We have to adapt.
Yeah. Here's a good one. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier.
Okay.
In Ecuador, is marijuana legally authorized for medicinal purposes?
For medicinal purposes, yes.
Okay.
But there is a ruling that you have to do. And actually, it's not like, for example, in the US, that you get a card, and with that card, you go to the stores and you just buy a certain amount. Here is like whether you use the drops or any other, very homemade. So they are licensing people to provide themselves a personalized dosage, and or like to expand these drops, but it's more like cosmetic. It's not that it's not allowed. It is permitted. It is licensed already, but there's not that market as you've seen in the States.
In the States, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it gets abused in the States too. I really do.
That's the point. And I totally agree with that. But I think that if you're going to start doing that, you have to control. Because if you don't put control, then people will start asking you for marijuana for another purposes, to get high, for the psychoactive effect, and then it stops being medicinal. There's no medicinal anymore.
Yeah. Now it's entertainment or. Yeah.
So I agree, and I want to be clear with that. But in a responsible way, prescribed for a doctor and the right dosage that you need, not to keep you dope-hated, not to keep you as a zombie. No, because then it stops to being medicinal. It's not medicinal anymore. Yeah.
Since there's so many expats coming here now, are there doctors here that specialize in geriatric care?
Yes.
And that's it?
Gerontologists, we have.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, we have.
How come I don't see one?
because probably because your spirit, and because it's like you can see a GP because they are like a GP that they just decided to specialize in, in elderly people.
So, at what point do you need a geriatric doctor?
Yeah, sure.
What determines that?
For example, if you're not tolerating any more oral pills,
Okay.
or you have special needs like gastrectomy, I always refer those patients, or dementia. If you have dementia, or special things, is I can follow you as a physician, as a general physician, but I always have like a back from my cell, a backup. Like I have always the interpretation and the following of the specialist as well. That is the way it should be.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when you, for example, if you have an appendix, I diagnose you, I send you with a general surgeon, and then I can take the stitches out for you.
Sure.
But the surgery
is
that's not my concern. It's not my specialty. It's not what I do. So we need to also set boundaries for us and for the other people, and that way is how the medicine works. Efficiency.
Right.
It's more efficient.
Here's a good one. What is your assessment of where Ecuador stands in regard to pain management and addiction therapy?
Oh, the borderline is so thin.
Oh, yeah.
So
I like that. The borderline is very thin.
It's very, very thin. Yeah, because it's like if I prescribe you, let's say that
let's say I get addicted to Oxycontin.
Yeah, that's why it's so regulated.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, if you go to my office and I know that you had, I don't know, if it was a cardiac, heart transplant or something that you have a terrible pain and I have no other options to offer, you already been so many times and the oxycodone, it's like, okay, because I'm not a very fan, actually, I am not a fan to prescribe that like this. Yeah. When it's so other options that you can use. For example, in those cases, I'd rather to have you in a very, very small doses of cannabis. Like, because cannabis or however.
I want to make sure they understand.
Yeah, CBD, THC or however.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on it yet because I wanted that's not the way. But I meant like if I would be a pain management physician or some, but there are some other options that you can try first than to put a patient right away on the oxycodone because you don't know if that person was addicted or if they have a family history of addiction and you are not helping, you're creating a social disaster because you're creating anxiety, depression, addiction. It's a lot of problems that person will have in the future. So when you have no other resources, when they already been so much time in that, a different thing is. But that's why it's so regulated, the prescription here. For example, if I prescribe you, I'm just going to put this as example, clonazepam, I will give you only 60, let's say, and it's one per day for 60 days. If you come back to my office the day 59, I won't give you more because I would know that you took one, more than one pill.
Yeah.
I personally won't.
Yeah.
Because I know that there is a problem there. What happened with the other pill? Yeah, and this is very exaggerated because it's just one pill.
Sure.
But it's like, I don't want to be responsible to create an addicted.
Yeah.
That's not how medicine works.
Yeah. Are there rehab centers here in Ecuador?
We have an ANA, which is for alcoholic people. Yeah, from some there are some places.
What about Narcotics Anonymous, NA? In the States, they have AA and NA, Narcotics.
The one that I know, I can tell you even where it's located is the AA. I don't know if they still have there, but they also have people with drug addictions.
They use the same program. They use the 12-step program.
I think, yes.
I think that's a bunch.
It's not like in the States
right.
or in other countries, but it works. They have established facilities.
Yeah.
But for a matter of security, they don't share that information.
Yeah. Here's a question, and I'm going to let you answer it, but I'm also going to give my answer to it.
Okay.
I want to give my answer first, and then you can.
Yeah,
Does
if you can tell
Ecuador
first, yeah.
does Ecuador have rehabilitation centers, or what one might call nursing homes, for people who need regular care beyond what a hospital can provide?
Mhm.
My answer is yes. It's called family, because the
Family has to
family
be the
takes
first
care of everybody, But I know there's an ambulatory care center right next door to me, right here. It's back home that we would say that is a nursing home. We would call that a nursing home or assisted living.
You meant
You
for
know,
people, for retirement people.
yeah, for people that are rehabilitation, that need to be rehabilitated, that are beyond what a hospital can provide.
Yes.
Like a stroke victim,
Mhm.
or
Disability people with
they need daily
disabilities.
care.
Yes, we have. Well, this one, the one I'm going, this two that I'm going to mention, there are more like emphasized in elderly people. But we have Fonteman. We also have Cotolengo, right here in Manta, and they're distributed around the country. Yeah, some of them they have help from the government, like not at all, but in certain percentage. And some of them there's people who reunite, and there's like a social work and something like that.
You mentioned, I heard you say the key word elderly. In this program that I watched last night, they use a new term in the United States. They don't say senior citizens anymore. They don't want to, and they don't want to refer to seniors as elderly. You know what they want to call them? People of wisdom.
Well, I like the word because they are very, very wise.
Yeah.
And if you recall all the times that I've been talking to you as a doctor and in a different things, I always say mature people.
Yeah.
Because it's like the world. Oh, I think it's a little bit rude, like to call something old because they are not.
So instead of me being grumpy old gringo, I could be grumpy. Grumpy mature gringo.
Mature.
Oh my God. Okay, we're almost to the end here, and then we'll start looking at questions and comments. We got quite a few. We still have 43 people. Hang in there, folks. We're going to get right with you, okay?
Yes.
We want to try to respond to everybody. So let's see. For the younger expat who may be more physically active, if they should undergo a fall down, does Ecuador have orthopedic centers dedicated to the treatment of broken bones, or should the patient go instead to a general hospital for treatment?
Okay.
I can answer that. Yeah.
Yeah. We have private places, and we have also ISS. They have a whole room for rehabilitation. Yeah, for physical rehabilitation.
Yeah. Here's a good one. This is the last question from this group of questions. How would you assess the therapies available to people with disabilities here, such as paraplegia, quadriplegic, or hearing and visual impairments? Is there a therapy for, if somebody has an accident here and they're paralyzed from the neck down, I know in the United States they have thousands of places you can go and get.
We don't have thousands of places. They are growing more and more and more. The facilities, the very basic ones, they have like as the walking center. So you have one which is probably type A, B, or C, and that depends how much they can cover of the care talking about. For example, there are some people they're prepared only to assist people with certain disabilities, and there could be another one that they are more prepared for complexity, and so and so. Yeah, and for example, but there's more physical therapies with subspecialties or special training and specific things. For example, I have a friend of mine. He is a physical therapist, but he also studied for a neurostimulation, muscle physical therapy to rehabilitate people with nervous damage, or quadriplegic, paraplegic. And there's some others that they like to do more like respiratory therapy, or if you have a broken bone, to rehabilitate that. So that depends. That depends of your studies, your degrees, and how prepared is your center. But we are growing as a city, as a country, and we start having more and more places.
Yeah.
But I cannot tell you like how many because they are growing in different stages.
Yeah. All right. So we have pretty much, that's all the questions, Actually, I do have a question. If
Of course.
there's a lot of people here in Manta that live in these high-rise buildings, okay, and they got these tiny little elevators in them that only 3 or 4 people can get into them. Let's say something happens to me and I need to be taken to the hospital, I'm on the 10th floor of this building. How are they going to get me on a gurney down to the ground floor with these tiny little elevators they have?
Oh, that's a huge problem.
What do they do?
For each building, I'm not an architect or I'm not an engineer, but there's rules everywhere. But sometimes those rules, they just don't follow. There's business involved, and I'm so sorry again. I don't want to hurt any feelings, but they approve constructions that they are not prepared for the emergency evacuations.
Right.
So
they can always put me in a chair.
Yeah.
And wheel me into the elevator in a chair.
There is a lot of options. For example, you can have a stairs, and there is this wheelchairs that they are like electronic, and you can put the patient there.
Oh no, they can go down the stairs.
Yeah, options. Oh my God, you have bunches of options.
Really? Well, we laid that up to the fire department.
But there's something that, for example, if I'm building this condo and I am not following all the rules, why do I have the license to start selling at the first place? That is a responsibility for the people right here.
Yeah.
And that's something that people should, they will have to take on their shoulders if something happened. Yeah.
So
it's sad, but
so just to dispel the myth, dispel the myth. People have told me I don't trust third world medicine. How do you respond to that?
I do. I think that the top of the world, they also have errors and currencies, and we have to. Nobody's perfect, and sometimes it's not enough, the technology. If you have nothing here and no abilities, then you became dependent of the technology. So that is a type of professionals, with all the respect again, the professionals that they can't diagnose a patient if they don't have lab work, if they don't have x-rays, if they don't have MRIs, because they don't dig in the patient, they don't ask, they don't interview. That's why I take all the time that I take with my patients, that exactly. Because 70% of the diagnosis is in the interview, and that there is no technology that they can do that work. Right. So, and at the same time, we are so low in technology that in certain things, I can't just try to cover everything with one single finger, like we're perfect, because we're not. That our country is very, very poor compared with us, that we cannot invest in a good MRI machine. And good international agreements with universities to prepare more our staff and to incentivize people to study medicine. Because when you study medicine, med school, this is not only to wear this, is the responsibility that you have when you diagnose somebody, that when you treat a human life. So it must be some values that they need to they need to strengthen. They need to really, really, really support in a student, like the honesty, the I don't know, everything is so involved in politics right now
Yeah.
that it's not only the lack of staff or the lack of resources, it's the corruption.
Yeah.
But it's not that our doctors are bad. It's not that our
it's not the
universities are
doctors,
bad,
yeah.
or our education is
Totally agree
bad.
with that, yeah.
Or we are, because we are from Ecuador, we are, oh my God,
Mhm.
all this, no, we're good.
Mhm.
I can name you here all the afternoon, all the good doctors I've seen, all the teachers I had, all the educations I have, and I'm very proud of it. Unfortunately, the system is so corrupt that there's no integrity anymore.
Yeah.
And the patients are taking the bad consequences of that.
Well, we have an election coming up.
People, come on, vote responsibility.
Yeah. Okay, we are ready to, let's look and see what's going on here. Hello, let's see, Christy, Sarah Folin, Ola, Don, and Dr. Garcia sounded great. Their GMA says about availability of prescription drugs. We pretty well covered that. I've been told not to waste money on vitamins made here because there are no regulations here, or so not what we're getting. That's the buck stops here. That's a good one. What about vitamins? Do you recommend vitamins to people? I mean, should I be taking vitamins?
But
Do
yeah,
you tell people to get vitamins? They're
but
expensive in the United States.
so the body tells you when you're in lack of a vitamin.
Mm-hmm.
So, or when that level of vitamin is not enough for your body. So then is when you supplement. People take vitamins like it was water.
Yeah.
And that isn't good either.
Yeah.
So again, don't self-medicate. Go to the doctor. Preventive medicine, if you want to guys keep healthy. This is not like, I'm going to start taking all these vitamins and I'm going to be okay. No.
Yeah.
No, preventive medicine goes beyond, far beyond to vitamins. And we have good brands, but our alternatives are low compared with you guys. For example, if there are some vitamins that I won't find here, and if I can ship it from the States, I will.
Yep.
But it's not exactly about quality. Is that this other thing that I think, oh my gosh, like, don't buy generic because generic doesn't work. The one who works is a commercial brand, and that's not true. It's a principal active.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That is the way to convince somebody to buy a specific brand.
Mm-hmm. My doctor told me if you eat the right foods and you get enough exercise and you get sun, you don't need to take any vitamins. You get everything in all those foods and stuff you eat.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying preventive medicine.
Yeah.
If you eat enough what your body needs and the nutrients, and your body is not showing any sign of deficiency, so you don't need to intoxicate you with more.
Yeah.
But people don't like to eat well. They rather to have externally the vitamins.
It's so easy to just go and get it, especially in the United States. There's a fast food joint on every corner, you know. So.
Yeah, I think that is the first mistake, that we are not taking care about what we eat, and the food is.
Yeah. This guy here says, I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, B.PE says, Dr. Gladys, what about holistic nutrients? And then he says COQ10. You see that right there?
Yeah, that's a liver protector.
It is?
I recommend everybody. It's very good. But if you have fatty liver, you might need a couple things more. QQ10.
Fatty liver? Yeah.
Yeah. So depends, as I said, depends.
Right.
For example, if you're taking an antibiotic or an antiparasite that you know is going to affect the liver because it metabolizes a lot there, you can take CoQ10 like to protect the liver from the effects of that. You know, like complex B or something. But it's not like I'm going to take this for my whole life. Remember that everything is toxic. You can eat a lot of avocado. You can spend all the day eating avocado, but it's an exaggeration of fat. So people think that because it's healthy, because it's organic, it's safe to eat whatever I want. And that's not how it works.
That's very true. Here's a good one. Doug Dalio. See, paracetamol. Can you see it right here? Paracetamol.
Yeah, unfortunately, everything is paracetamol. That's so sad. I don't know, really.
Okay. And then here is the same person has the same other question, Dr. Gladys. HCl, hydrochloric acid for digestion, or do you recommend, or do you have a recommendation?
Well, that
for digestion?
the chlorhydric acid is the one who helps to break the food and to make it easy for the metabolization in the small intestines.
Okay.
So if you don't produce enough acidic environment to break those things, yes, you have another options. Like for example, you have charcoal. We have a lot of things. I can be here all the afternoon telling you how to digest food in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
We can share. I love this topic, so I think that we might need a whole
separate.
a separate to talk about it. But yeah. And as I said, charcoal, turmeric,
turmeric,
turmeric and ginger. But please, if you have high blood pressure, try to avoid ginger because it elevates the blood pressure, increases the blood pressure. Just for you guys to know.
Yeah. Todd Goldfinger said, "Hey, Todd said this is such a cool live stream." See right
Great, thank you. My pleasure.
Let's see. GMAs. No, I didn't know that, Doug. Everyone here gets frustrated for that problem. I don't know what they're talking about. Okay, let's see. Carla Banks, I hear from her often. Hi, Don and Dr. Garcia. I'll be in Monto the last week of September and would like to schedule an appointment with the doctor. How can I contact her? So your information is going to be in the description of this video. And Carla, if you don't find it there, write to me and I will make sure that you get everything you need to get in touch with Dr. Garcia. So I don't, and guess what? I'm not going to charge you for it either. You know? That's a shocker for some people because there's other YouTubers, they charge for everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a couple here in Ecuador.
Information shouldn't be charged. If you provide a service, that's different because it's your work.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing to do this video is to provide information. So they get to know us and what we do, but also to have information that information was to be shared.
Yeah. Here's Catherine Edwards Clement. Yeah. Catherine from Mesa. Oh, I hear from her often. She's from where I came from, Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
She's just saying, checking in.
Hello, Catherine.
Let's see. I did it. Yeah, Dr. Gladys. The GMA said, wait for the bill in the mail, Don. Okay. Remember when I asked you if you're going to charge?
I don't know, guys. You guys vote. Should I charge Don?
Yeah, we don't have a postal system here, okay? Oh my God! Be careful getting too close there. They'll be going like. That's pretty funny.
Wow.
Yeah. Kathy and Dogs, how y'all? I dozed off from the sofa. I'll watch the replay catch up. Okay, good. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy, I hear she's been a subscriber for quite some time. Let's see. Kathy, they just started the question. Okay, does Ecuador have HIPAA so they can request medical records from your doctors in the U.S.? Now, HIPAA, I don't know if you're familiar with that. It has to do with your personal information. It's all about your personal information. Everybody in the United States, there's a law, HIPAA laws, that protect you and your privacy and your information, all your personal information, like in places of employment. We can't talk about somebody's health conditions or anything because of HIPAA. People can get sued and fired and lose their job.
We have the same law here. So you can't name people. It's like, for example, if I'm seeing this patient and I want to put an example, I can't name you.
Yeah.
Because if you have a proof, you can sue me.
Yeah.
As
That's
I said,
the way HIPAA works.
Yeah, that is. But we don't have HIPAA power in the States. Right. Only here because I'm an Ecuadorian doctor. So.
Yeah. Kathy and the dog said she'll send my info to Dr. Garcia before I move. And somebody's asking, Kathy, where are you moving to? Let's see. All right. Physician. I'm trying to kind of skimming through this, looking for questions. Physician's assistants can do everything except surgery, as well as nurse practitioners. You're correct, Don. Well,
well, they are very limited here, so it's not like in the States.
They are. I tell you what. Several years ago, before I came here, probably like 5 years ago, I got scabies. You know what
Okay.
scabies is? It's a little mite that gets under your skin, your hair. It makes you want to commit suicide. You itch and scratch violently. It's very bad
It was in the States or here?
in the States.
Okay.
And my doctor, I couldn't see my geriatric doctor. I had to see a physician's assistant. And so she's sitting there in the exam room with a book, trying to figure out what I had. And she prescribed me, told me to go see a dermatologist. I went to a dermatologist. The dermatologist said it was some condition that babies get. I don't remember what it was. I ended up going
Atopic.
to a pharmacist. And the pharmacist, I know what you have. You have scabies. Go back to your doctor and tell her doctor that you need this. And this tube was $100. And you had to put it on from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to my doctor, and still didn't get to see my doctor. I saw a physician's assistant,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her, I said, "This is what the pharmacy told me. Please prescribe this to me." And she did, and I took it.
So she can prescribe.
She could, but she didn't. She misdiagnosed me. She didn't know what I had.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
That is very strict in this country.
And
So
the
it's
thing-
like customer law here, and certain things it's not that strict. Like in the U.S., for example, if you buy something, you can have your money in return if they got in late or something like that. Well, that ain't happen here. But if you go to a doctor and they doctor administrate you the wrong
Mhm.
drug, they can sue you.
Yeah.
They can go to a public lawyer,
Yeah,
and they can take you to court
yeah.
because the medical laws here are so strict.
Well, that's good. I'm glad
And
to hear that.
I'm glad because
That's
but
good
we are
news, yeah.
not very protected
Mhm.
at the moment that if we were right and the patient is not,
Mhm.
that isn't this balance a little bit because it's like it's socialism that we weren't into. I think it's extreme. Like they always have right. The customers always have right. And there are certain things that they don't.
Right.
But I agree completely. If you go to see a doctor, at least you deserve that doctor look at you in the eye and pay attention to you and be nice with you and say, "Hi, how are you doing? How can I help you?"
Well, sadly to say, most of the time in the United States right now, you don't get to see your doctor.
And you deserve to
Yeah.
see a doctor.
Mhm.
A nurse is not enough prepared to diagnose any patient. But maybe in the US they are. But here, for example, if you go to a psychologist, they can't prescribe you any drug. If you go to a general physician who is not licensed, they can't prescribe you medication to see because they are not licensed.
Really?
So
Oh,
there's
that's
certain
interesting.
rules. Again, as I work as a resident in an emergency room, I trained myself because it was intubating patients and helping assisting with the intubations and
Mhm.
high invasive and less invasive things. So you have to have the license because you can't say I can't do that. That then the supervisor goes and you're fired. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a sad state of affairs, but it's like I can't remember the last time I actually got to see my doctor. You know, so
Oh.
except you. You know,
Well, I think you see me every
probably going to
week.
charge me for this visit. Oh well, I'm a sick man. Okay, it's like,
No, I'm just joking. I mean, like, no. So
it said like the buck stops here said it's like the dentist here also no hygienist. The dentist cleans teeth. That's here. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the point I was trying to make to people is that when you need healthcare here, you're going to see a doctor. You know,
a doctor.
You need dental work. You're going to see a dentist. You're not going to see a hygienist. You know.
Yeah, that's why I think that before you go to the specialist, you have to see a general doctor or an internal medicine because how can you know?
Mhm.
Unless oh my god, you have a diarrhea, but
Yeah.
diarrhea is until you're not sure that it's digestive.
Mhm.
A GP, physician, a general physician can see it, or internal medicine can see it. So it's like you know how to, you have the guidance that it's required.
Yeah.
But people save in healthcare, but they spend thousands of dollars in good condos and in good food. So we are living all the way around, Don.
Yeah.
So how can you enjoy it for a retirement if you don't prioritize your health?
That's true. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So go for
It's
it.
most important.
Yeah, most
It's most
important is
important,
like
but
if you want to have a good quality of life and enjoy life and be power strong and your best, because that is the point to be retired.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to be locked in a bed and just live in the best view in front of the beach. And I'm not criticizing, but it's my personal opinion. Like, but what about if you get blind? If you're diabetic, you didn't had the attention, you got blind, and you live in the best condo, but you can't see the sea anymore.
Yeah. In the United States. In the United States. Now, I don't want to use this live stream to bash the United States, but this is facts. This is the truth. There are people that are not getting, they don't have a quality of life because healthcare is such a hassle. You have to get an appointment. You have to file claims. You have to have a network approval. You have to have insurance approval. You call your doctor and they say, well, we can't see you for 3 weeks. It's a hassle, but there's also 350 million people in the United States.
Yeah.
And
it happens in the, at the public system here, it happens because we have a very huge lack of stock. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we don't have enough people to treat the whole population, but at least we try in our small resources. We try, and it's like when you are in need, you develop the skills because you have no other thing.
Right.
It's a survival mode. Right. But human beings are not to experiment. You have to study, you have to prepare, and you have to be sure about what you're saying.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. A says, I was about to say what doctors know English, or other than Dr. Garcia. I never hear doctors speaking English.
There are people, but there are few. Unfortunately, there are few. I would love to that they implement that in our education, like, demanding, like you have to know how to speak English. But,
there's nothing to lose by learning to speak English if you're going to be in this profession.
Because your opportunities are wide open.
Yeah.
And if I tell you how I learned English, you will start laughing, like crack laughing. This is just so fun. I never went to any English school, never in my life. Just I think it was the pandemic, because I am a workaholic. I recognize I like to work a lot. So I had all these free time. I was desperate.
Yeah.
And I put myself into an English course, but we were, online talking. But actually I learned because my mother, she was a nurse, as I said, and a university teacher. Mm-hmm. And she came one day from London and she said, you have to learn English. Yeah. And I think I was so small. Like I was hearing people talking English at the same time that I was learning Spanish. Yeah. So that was a advantage. That sometimes that's why I have different accents and different ways to say things, because I educate myself very domestically.
Well, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Nobody's going.
But I'm an example that if you want, you can do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that human beings are incapable to do.
Oh, that's true. I agree. I always say, if you want it, you can get it. You can do it. Yeah.
Everything's here.
Sure. It's all up there. Let's see here. Move on. Let's see. Oh, a great tool for translation exam. Hey, that's true. Kathy, good question. I was just thinking about that. In terms of translation, it's more of the interpretation that I do. Oh, Ace is selling his services on my channel. I don't know if you know. He is GMAce. He has his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he's in Puerto Viejo.
Oh, no wonder he said like Viva Puerto Viejo.
Yeah.
Puerto Viejo is a nice place.
He's also young and very single.
Oh, right.
Yeah. He's very available.
What are you trying
Not that I'm saying anything, but I'm just throwing that out there. So, oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. All right, people, talking about translation. This is a medical show here. AI is free. Yeah, see here, people are starting talking about AI. You know, that's I'm gonna stop right here for a second. AI
Mhm.
and the future of medicine. What do you think?
I love technology. I think technology is a great tool. It could be dangerous if it gets in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
But again, it's like I would like to try because I saw something yesterday on the news that Google have they are trying to make rehearsals with the AA. For example, I'm here talking with you guys,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't speak English and you don't understand what we're saying, there's somebody who is imitating my mouth and talking in Spanish, and it is as the same thing, like to interpret or translate at the same time. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, I think it's a matter of an interpretation.
So,
I would like to see that. It's like I'm a very open mindset person. It's like I don't judge until I know from a fact that it doesn't work. I have to see
Chat
it.
GPT. Chat GPT.
Well, that's a dangerous tool.
I use it
That
a lot.
that's very good and very basic things.
Mhm.
But you can't play to be a doctor.
See, and I think
No.
I think
That is
government
very,
regulation
very.
is going to take control of that, and I don't think you can go to Chat GPT right now and get a medical diagnosis of a condition that
No,
you're
that's
having.
not.
You can
that's
ask
not
questions,
okay.
generalized questions, and so forth, like what is aspirin good for, and stuff like that. But it scares me to death. I'm terrified of what people are going to do with Chat GPT in the medical industry.
I'm wondering what happened if somebody goes and said, I have an abdominal pain here and I need a surgery. How I perform a surgery by myself.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There are people that
I
would
can't
do
believe
that.
it. That is like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's good, but then again, it's a very thin borderline to the wrong, very wrong.
Yeah. Let's see here. Moving on. I think we might be getting close. Oh, we have 54 people watching. Don is definitely right. Oh, look at there. Don's right again. So there. I love it when people tell me I'm right.
And I want to clarify as well, like as a physician trained scientifically to be a doctor, I also care about the mental health.
Yes.
And the psychology, the mindset. I think that plays a very important role in the healthcare too. So that's what, putting this words like and explaining a little bit more about what holistic approach exactly means.
Yeah. Let's see here. Any suggestion to help deal with altitude sickness? Oh, this is a good one.
There is
Let's
a
talk about
medication
that
that
for a
we
second.
manage to people they have rest to the altitude.
Really?
Yeah.
Long term?
No, only for when you're exposed to the altitude. Because if you already are sensitive to the altitude, that's not the place that you should live. I would tell you, like, just move, but that's not the place.
That's why I'm not in Cuenca.
Yeah. So now you have your answer by yourself. So it's like
But I was wanting a medical solution.
It's like, for example, if you're gonna go there like for a week, I would tell you, okay, this is a prescription so you can deal the trip and you're not gonna be drowned.
Yeah.
But if you want to tell me like, or if your intentions are like to move there, I have to tell you like that's not the place to live.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a miserable life there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there are some people that can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
They can. There's a lot.
And it's not like because there are some people that they think, oh, I have a high blood pressure, so I can't live there. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everybody, as I said.
Yeah. I would for some people. Okay, I'm trying not to speak for my audience. There are some people that have come here. They don't like the coast because of the weather. It's too hot.
Yeah, it's the humidity and it's hot.
They can't handle the altitude, and it ends up. The reality is that Ecuador is not the place for them.
Yeah.
That's the sad reality.
But how can you know if you don't try?
Absolutely.
So
You have
maybe
to try.
somebody come here and they spend a time here and they say like, oh no, Ecuador is not for me. Maybe they decide to go to Portugal or Costa Rica, and that's good for them. We should do what we are happy to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where we feel comfortable and happy. You're not forced to stay here because it's a cheaper place in the United States. Options are a bunch of options.
Oh, there's
like
a lot.
Yeah.
Unless you do like me, and you come here and you get attracted to somebody and you fall in love, and you know that story.
Yeah, but it's because you're happy,
Yeah.
but you're not sacrificing your happiness to
Right.
be with somebody.
Right.
Well, it's healthy with you and for you. Great.
Yeah.
But when it stops to being healthy, when
Yeah.
it's not fulfilling you,
Mm-hmm.
you're always open to go.
Yeah.
To seek for your happiness.
Somebody here said, Geraldo said, here in Texas, they are already using robots for surgery in addition to protons treatment on cancer cases. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about?
Biotechnology, nanotechnology.
Yeah.
I think that
I know there's some robotics that they use in surgery. I know that for a fact.
robots and electronic things, they work in base of algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
And life could be there if you talked about materia, if you talk about physical things like this phone or this and this. But when you talked about human lives, you can't be that strict.
Yeah.
No. So it helps, but it's not the whole solution. I just want to be clear with that.
Yeah. Here's William Shakespeare. I'm sure that's a real name.
Yeah.
Does Dr. Garcia accept new patients only near Manta, or does she sometimes travel to other major central cities for patients? So what's your territory, so to speak?
My territory in basis of what I can reach
you go to
easy.
Bahia?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
2 hours away.
Yeah, it's not far, but it's like Cuenca is like, I'm putting this example. I would love to go there. And if I have an office there or somebody would like to have me there and they have it planned for me, like for me to be there 1 day or 2 at the week.
And they pay for it.
Yeah, so I can go and I can see all the patients possible. But right here is because I can move in my car. My car is, as I said, is my ambulance, is my bedroom if I want to sleep, or I have everything I need. So I can, while I can drive and according to emergencies, because if you have a heart attack, you're 3 hours away from me, I want to keep you waiting for me and rest that you could die. I will seek you the nearest place when they can give you the attention that I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have patients in Santa Elena, which is to the side, Puerto Cayo. I have patients in Bahia, San Clemente, San Jacinto, Canoa. I go in my car, I see them at their houses, and then I can follow them online through the phone or through the computer and guide them to the phone as well. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Enjoying this chat. Oh, Farrell Wheeler. Do you know Farrell Warren?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's my patient. Yeah. Hello. Great. By the way, I saw your message. I'll be texting you back in a bit. Okay. Sorry.
Don plus Stella for life. The GMA said Don plus Stella for life.
Oh, should I make a note?
Okay, let's see. Hi, Dr. Garcia. Is there a better motion sickness meds than antimetal? Antimetal? Can you see that word right there?
Is there any better motion sickness?
This is Chris Gillings.
Antimetal.
Antimetal. Do you know what that is? I never heard of that. So
maybe
what do you
it's
think for motion sickness?
Okay.
Here?
For motion sickness, we have 2 types of sickness, for motion dizziness or vertigo. It's when you move your body, right? And your body suffers the consequences for the instability. So vertigo mostly correspond to an ear infection. And the dizziness could be high cholesterol, high blood pressure, low blood pressure. and so and so. And we have two different medications to treat that, or groups of medications, because we have several brands. One who goes right to when the brain makes the orders to the to the execution of the motion, and it's like you block that a reflect, or you block that thing directly into the brain.
Mhm.
The other one, it's peripheral, yeah, but you attack the symptom. You're not attacking what is causing that. But yeah, we have, for example, we have ondansetron modifical that you guys think you have it in the US like a Sofran, I think.
Mhm.
We also have beta-istina. With this one is more like for the ear infection or the cochlear equilibrium, something like that. We also have Mareol, which is a Mareol, and this one is more peripheral, and this one is to also control the dizziness. But you also need to know, and we also have some exercises that you can do at home that it helps a lot with that. But you need to attack exercises. They're quite uncomfortable, but they help. In the long data, they do. You just have to be.
We have to exercise.
Yeah. So I don't know if this antimethyl, it's a brand from the US. And if you gave me the principal active, I can tell you exactly.
Active ingredients.
Yeah, the active ingredients, like, and I can give you a lot of names. Metoclopramide, the clopan, also helps with that. It helps. It's a prokinetic, so it also helps with the motion of the intestines. So there are some medications that they go right to attack that symptom, and some others, like, they have main action, but they also contribute with that.
Okay. So
pharmacology is very extensive.
Speaking of which, I'm horrible with car sickness. I can't ride a bus. Okay, just unless I'm right up in the front seat with the driver, I have to see where I'm going.
Seasickness?
It's like seasickness. I
Like
get
when you're in a boat
nauseated
and
and I'm ready
oh
to
my
throw
gosh,
up.
yeah.
I'm ready. Yeah.
You are dizzy and you have nausea and vomiting
Yes. Yeah. So even when we have an earthquake here, I get this after it's over. Is that normal?
too. No.
No. Why is it happening to me?
It is normal that this is the land, right?
Yeah.
And it's an earthquake.
Yeah.
And you start moving like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's normal because your motion is according to how the earth is moving. But it's not normal that you are standing up and walking, then you go to, from the right or from the left.
Like, I'm sitting here and we have an earthquake. All right. This has happened to me several times. Even when it's over, I still feel like it's moving.
How long it lasts?
Just not long. I mean, a few moments. But it's enough to make me nauseated. It's enough to make me sick.
Yeah, have you checked your ear?
I never have.
If I were you, I would check your ear. I would check your neck if you don't have any.
And then you'll want to charge me for that.
I'm just giving you the advice for free, right?
Trying to make a quick buck off me. It's kind of money. I know this live stream's going to cost me yet. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
All right. So, do I need to contact Dr. Garcia for the medicine for altitude sickness? I've been asking my doctors, and they tell me hydrate and take it easy. They are aware of what they aren't aware of what I should take. That's Carla asking that. So,
if you have a sensitivity to the altitude sickness, yes, my recommendation is, whether if you want to see me or any other doctor, they will give you like a preventive treatment.
Yeah.
So in case that you already had history of altitude sickness before, or if you are in rest to have it, you can treat it and you can enjoy your trip and not spending the most horrible time in your life. But yeah, it has to be prescribed by a doctor. So that's why I'm emphasizing that much this, because you might go, as I said, there are some people that they just have a blood pressure taken, right?
Yeah.
And they said, oh my God, I have blood pressure. And they're going to go and they go with amlodipine, the losartan, that it works for you, but it doesn't work for them. That is a thin borderline that I found when you have all these medications available at the counter. It's like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to come with me. Just seek for a doctor.
Yeah.
And this is not because I want to push you guys to see me. Well, if you like, different is. But it's like, go and see a doctor. Don't self-medicate yourself, please. Don't follow what it works for the other people, because could not work for you. Okay?
Here's a good question. This is from Reese. Reese has been a subscriber for a while. Hi, Reese. Which, by the way, I answered your email the other day too, so I hope you got it. But this is a good question. I am a person with stents. Okay, stents. Stents.
Yes.
Should I trust IESS or should I get private insurance in case?
ISS is good, and but it sends not all the time are an intervention. An emergency intervention. So that is when the ISS is not because it isn't good. It's because the system is very slow.
Yeah.
And for example, if you have a massive heart attack or you have a heart attack and you need, because you have a timeline, it's when you have a stroke, you have a protocol says that you have a timeline when you can revert that or you can treat that properly. So then it would be good to have a private insurance, because they will act quickly. You can go to any private facility and just go for it. But ISS is very good. If you have an emergency, they have good agreements with good clinics around the whole country, and a lot of people can benefit from that.
Yeah.
But please be aware and be open mindset that you might need to wait a lot if you want to go for an ambulatory attention. So it's not going to be from today by tomorrow. It's going to take a couple months.
Yeah. Not that I'm against ISS.
No.
I tell people, if you can afford it, get private. Just go with private.
And also be aware that if you have persistency conditions, private insurance doesn't cover that for a currency period of 1 year or 2.
Yeah.
And so then ISS is wonderful because they cover you whether if you have a persistency or not.
Yeah.
So it's like always have a backup plan. Like I'm gonna have ISS if I have all these things, and then the private, so I can be covered for both.
Right.
You know.
Michael says, Dr. Garcia, you would be a superstar if you had an office in Cotacachi. Gracias for your service.
Oh, thank you. That would be lovely. I've never been there before. So.
Yeah, I thought about actually going there to visit. And just, I have friends there that are from North America. And they love it. They absolutely love it there. But it's high up. It's like 7,800 feet.
Yeah, it
above
is.
sea level. You know. Chris, I used tryptone in the U.S. for seasickness. So that's what Kathy and the dog says. So
again, tryptone, as I said, is commercial brand, so we don't have those commercials here. So I can tell you if you just got me the generic name, or you can save all those comments and I can tell you right away what is the name of the principal active of those meds, and I can tell you, okay, this is this, and you can use this instead of this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have those brands here.
Right. Well, people can bring them from the States too. I mean, people do that. They bring a lot of their medication with them, from the States. I don't know how much of it is legal.
You can ship your meds. I have some patients that I help them to release their regular medications once they're here, because the insurance company, they cover all.
Yeah.
So they only have to pay the shipping, or they wait till somebody can come with a prescription and put those meds inside. Yeah. But that's the aduana. I don't regulate that. But mostly it's for 90 days and no more than that. Okay. For a security matter, it can't be less, or it can't be more. Sorry.
Yeah. Michael Cameron said, moved here 17 days ago. Wonderful place. Welcome, Michael. Reese also asked another question. What medical records should we ask for before moving to Ecuador? We kind of covered this a little earlier.
The most possible. It will be very helpful.
The most possible, yeah.
So if you have chronic conditions, at least the last 5 years that you've been treated, or if you can take notes, you guys have good digital charts, because you guys have a user and a password and you can always access to that. So what I do is I go with my computer and I just start doing my, my medical history. And then you can send me that information. We can always set that. There's always
I think I saw somewhere, either in this paper or there, somebody asked, here in Ecuador, we'll just say me, do I have access to my medical records that you have compiled online?
Well, it's not a.
I mean, I know you have records because
I do.
you write a book every time you come here.
Yeah, I do have, but it's like we don't have like a continuous a.
You don't have it online. You don't have it
We don't
posted
have
online.
we don't have a whole thing. Like for
Yeah.
example, I have my own records for my security as a physician, and because I like to have a background for my patients.
Sure.
But it's like if I send you to a specialist, whether I speak with them and I explain because there's a barrier with the language, or the other option is I just write like a interconsultation form. So when I'm explaining what do you have, what is your background, and like in a resume,
Yeah.
and that provide all the information, and I specific say what I want from them.
Yeah.
As a specialist. But we don't have like a system. I'm working on that in the future, as also I'm working to have a place that when I can see more patients. But
Your office, your own
yeah,
clinic,
that will be lovely. And as I said, it will be wonderful. If I can just travel certain places and have certain days when I can see people, in other locations.
A lot of people don't know that you are a mobile doctor.
Yeah, I'm a bio doctor.
You don't actually have an office that people. Because I remember when I first came here, I got lost trying to find you. And
I don't know where they sent
Dental.
you. Yeah, because when and the doctor, the dentist called me and said,
Jennifer from the Dental called you.
Sure, of course,
and you told me to go home.
Yeah, because I need privacy,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
You told me to go home. You were going to come see me. You told me
that's
to
the
go back
IPA.
home.
That's the IPA you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
It's like I can't provide you IPA if I'm just seeing you in a coffee place.
Yeah.
Like there are some patients that sometimes they write me. With some of them, I can do the exception because it's only to check results. But it's like to interview, it's not comfortable for myself. It's not comfortable for you because there's no privacy.
Yeah.
And I like to provide my patients to the enough privacy that it will be easy to extract the information for them.
Yeah.
So would you feel comfortable if you're talking with your psychologist in a coffee place? I don't think so, right?
Yeah. As you know, Mark Bradbury is in the hospital, and all of these messages that I keep getting on the phone here are related to him.
And
Can
how
I
is
take
he?
a second to see?
Sure.
Also, the update yesterday was that he's they were going to extubate him today to see if he can breathe, and if he could, then they're going to go. They're going to do heart surgery on him, and but when they tried to extubate him the other day, he couldn't breathe, and he has pneumonia, so he's critical condition, and we're really, really all hanging on and praying like crazy that he gets through this. But I was just looking. This is his sister, and she's asking for updates. I'll send it to her when we get done. We're almost done here. We have just a few more minutes, and then we're going to.
Okay.
I figured I would do a 2-hour stream. We've been here 1 hour and 47 minutes, believe it or not.
Yeah, and as I offer to you, if you guys like, for example, holistic topics or mental health or things that I can share with you guys, that information, I'm always available, and I can make some time with you, and I can share all what I know to help people.
Sure.
That will be lovely for me.
And when you do, that's in the States we call it telehealth. You
I
can
also do
telehealth
that.
here. How do they pay you?
They transfer the money.
Just do a wire transfer?
It could be, wire transfer, or they can just go to the ATM. We have the smart ATM when you go, and they have this hole, you can deposit the money. So what I do is like I transfer my bank information, and they pay.
Like you did with me.
Yes. And they pay, and we schedule a Zoom appointment. Some of them, they feel comfortable having a WhatsApp call. Or
would you do that now with somebody that's in North America?
Yes, of course. Okay. I can. In that case, I can suggest, but I'm not allowed to prescribe there because I'm not a physician from the US. But if it's holistic, I can do 100% because I can prescribe. Holistics are it's an open market.
I think it's a good idea if somebody's planning to come here They know they're
Yeah.
going to need healthcare here. They should schedule a Zoom meeting with you.
Exactly. I can
You
make
know?
a Zoom with them. I can work in the in the medical history with them, or guide them to do this, this, and this, and
Mhm.
this, and then it will be to navigate to their medical history will be much easier for
Sure,
us.
sure.
Yeah, it will be easier, very easier for us.
Good idea. I came up with a good idea.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
see?
good. Thank
I'm
you.
in the wrong business. Oh my God. So Dramamine or Bonine? What is Bonine? Is that for seasickness too? Somebody said here.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
They are send all the commercial names.
Yeah.
So we have, for example, you guys can Google it. This.
Yeah.
Betaistina, dimenhidranato, metoclopramida. We have ondansetron. We have all of those. For example, you can also treat with some other meds. But as I said, it's like we are in Ecuador. We mostly use generic medication.
Yeah.
And me personally, I always prescribe generic, and I leave the patient the free will to just go and buy the brand what they feel good.
Yeah.
I'm not like it's quite different with me, because generally when you go with the doctor, they give you the brand, they prescribe the brand. I don't do that because I worked so many years for the public system, and it's forbidden to prescribe commercial brands. So I got used to it.
Just want to clarify, you just said if you go with a doctor, you are a doctor. I want to clarify that.
Yeah, I am. I'm a doctor. I have 10 years of experience. Okay. I look young. I know. It's quite hard to believe. But I am a doctor. Yeah.
Baby face Garcia.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So, Lolita Berrien, I'm sorry, Lolita.
We
if I
contact
saw your
her
name.
to do some
How do we contact her to do a Zoom? So, I want to suggest you through WhatsApp. To make the initial contact to her through WhatsApp. Folks, if you're in the U.S., you're in North America, and you don't have WhatsApp, get it on your phone and get used to it, because that's going to be the way you're going to communicate.
Yeah, and I usually share the link of the Zoom meeting, so I can share with you through WhatsApp, and then I schedule the time, and then we can meet. We can have generally it's an hour. At least I take an hour with a patient.
Yeah.
I dig a lot. I'm sorry, but I dig a lot.
Zoom works great. I mean, I think I love this technology that we have. You
can share screen. You can share I'm not a king with technology very much, so be patient. But this is what it matters.
We can help you with that.
Yeah.
So, this is why you need to get you an office.
Yes.
And then have a room in it that's strictly dedicated for online and Zoom, that's soundproof, and I can help you with that.
That would be great. I'm working on that.
A small fee.
Of course. I am working on that because, as I said, that I think that will help, because I understand not everybody likes to be visited at home. They like the dynamic to interact with the doctor in an office, and I respect that. Unfortunately, right now I can't offer that, but I'm working very hard so I can offer that, and I will still do in my home visits for patients that they don't feel like moving, or Zoom or electronic assistance. For example, I do electronic assistant with prescriptions.
Yeah.
So you pay for the prescription.
Yeah.
And I will find you the person who can deliver the meds for you. I will find what pharmacy has it. And so it's a total package that it's a total assistance.
Yeah.
Right?
There again, what you don't get in the U.S. It just doesn't work that way there. That's so good to hear. Okay, I think we're going to cut it off. It's we're almost at 2 hours here. You don't know how much I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you got things to do.
Thank you for having me. It's such a fun moment to share with you.
Well, I appreciate it. I have a great audience. We have, over 6,000 subscribers that pay attention, and they really like what they see here, and
Ecuador is a wonderful country.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm Ecuadorian, but it's a nice place. And please don't pay attention too much about what is going on with the delinquency. we're not delinquents. We're not killing people. Or not, this is not social media sometimes and news. Journalism. It could be quite a little bit exaggerated, but no, we are having a crisis right now, but we still have all the heart and all the tourism to provide people. Give us a chance.
It is manageable.
Mhm.
I was told yesterday that the quarantine has been moved to 12 midnight to 5 a.m. And the reason why they did it is so that the restaurants can stay open, because the 10 o'clock quarantine was shutting this city down. And the quarantine may even be completely turned off. I mean, who knows? Ahead of 60 days, we hope. The election's coming up this month. I'm betting that the quarantine will last till the end of August, and then it'll be over. That's my bet.
I have good hopes that our people, all Ecuadorians and all people who has right to vote, we will make a good decision this time. God bless us all, because we really need it.
Yeah, and don't believe everything you see on social media.
Yeah, we still have the good people, the caring people, the close people.
Yeah.
So that's still here. So don't judge a territory because there is this minority trying to do things that are not correct. There are still good people in the world.
Oh yeah, there's still good people right here in Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let me see here. Last couple messages, folks. Here, Dr. Garcia's email address and the Google Docs link that is listed in the details of this video. That's right. They're in the description of my videos.
Mm-hmm.
I have a link to a Google Docs document.
Really? You have to teach me how to do that.
Okay, and it has all your contact information.
Yeah, at some point I had to warn you guys that if the business grow, I will have to have an assistant. But I'm always open to replay, to give you a personalized attention. We just have to coordinate a little bit, but this close connection that we are doing here, it will be always that's the way that I've been managing my practice since I graduated. So.
And Christy says, great information. Thank you so much for doing this. Again, thank you, Dr. Garcia and Don, for helping us.
My pleasure.
All of us. I hope to see you both when we arrive in March of 2024, which will be here sooner than you think. So anyway, folks, thanks so much for joining. If you like this channel, please subscribe. If you like this video and this live stream, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, bite me. And I say that with peace and love, okay? So we will do this again at some point.
Of course.
Okay, I think we should do this a couple times a year, maybe.
Yeah, as I said, I'm pretty open. Just send the topics that you guys would like to talk, and I'm open.
Sure.
I always look for a time to share my knowledge. Well, it's not like a huge thing, but what I know.
That's a lot more than you think. Also, for those of you that are still listening, if you have additional questions for Dr. Garcia, leave them in the comment section. This video will be posted and as a regular video. Leave them in the comment section. I'll make sure that Dr. Garcia sees them and make sure that your questions get answered. So,
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Signing off. We'll see you the next time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
That was a lot of fun.